speech dans moins de quelques minutes. D'ailleurs, si le speech est terminé, je vais couper le truc pour vous, mais je vais vous mettre ça que vous puissiez suivre. Juste essayer de suivre. Il va faire un discours, il va adresser au monde et aux Américains, et puis vous aurez l'idée de ce qu'il va dire. Peut-être demain, quand nous reviendrons pour notre émission, nous serons à mesure de venir vous expliquer, mais je vais mettre pour vous et que vous puissiez suivre. Il y a beaucoup de publicités qui vont aussi passer, mais comprenez que ça doit être ainsi. Donc, mais je l'ai fait juste pour beaucoup de nos frères et sœurs qui aimeraient voir ce qui se passe aux États-Unis. Et voilà pourquoi je vais mettre ça pour tout le monde. Et vous allez aussi supporter de voir les publicités qui peuvent venir d'une façon ou d'une autre. Donc, il y en aura. Je sais que vous êtes là et vous aimez voir ça, donc je vais faire pour vous. J'ai vu qu'ils ont dit que cela sera dans quelques minutes, qu'il y aura un discours que le président, le nouveau président des États-Unis va faire. Donc, et je crois que cela sera une bonne chose. Donc, je vais mettre ça pour vous rapidement et restez, suivez, et puis voilà, c'est ce que je peux dire. Et si quelques-uns parmi nous peuvent toujours donner des petits commentaires en bas, ça sera une bonne chose. Allez, je mets ça pour vous. Merci.
I'm Lindsay Reiser at the CBS Broadcast Center in New York with coverage of CBS News America Decides. At this hour, Pennsylvania leans toward Trump. North Carolina and Georgia are already his as one of the closest presidential elections hurdles toward a finish. Let's go to West Palm Beach, Florida, and CBS's Caitlin Huey-Burns, who's at Trump election night headquarters. Caitlin, what's the mood there right now?
Hey, Lindsay, as you can see this crowd gathered behind me, this is an extremely jubilant crowd. Just on the monitor, I don't know if you can see behind me, they're playing Fox News, and Fox News has called Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, and thus they have called the presidency. And so I'm saying that because when that was coming up on the screen, this crowd went absolutely wild. We're expecting the former president to come here to this election night, essentially a watch party. He has been watching the results nearby at his resort in Mar-a-Lago. He's been there with family and friends, including Elon Musk. But we're also seeing a lot of his supporters who are at Mar-a-Lago kind of trickle in here as well. We've seen some senior advisors come here as well. So we're expecting the former president to speak, as Fox News has already called the entire race for him just a little before 2 a.m. I would also note that the Trump campaign had been expecting, anticipating this race to be called on election night. I mean, technically we're, in the wee hours of the next day, but essentially at the conclusion of the election, they had been adamant about that. And so that's also kind of notable here that so many races have been called when we were expecting a longer, stretched out election week.
Caitlin, I got to be quick with you on this, but are you hearing any other reaction to other GOP wins tonight, such as the fact that they flipped the Senate?
Lindsay, this is going to be such a big deal. And again, we're waiting for a couple other Senate seats in Wisconsin and in Michigan and in Pennsylvania. If those go the way of the race there, those are candidates who hugged onto Donald Trump very tightly. He would have a majority in the Senate as well.
Caitlin Huey-Burns at Trump election night headquarters in West Palm Beach. Thank you so much. You're watching CBS News, America Decides.
Superstar approaching, superstar approaching.
I can see clearly now that the rain is gone.
That's right.
Let's do it. Let's go. Let's do this. I can see clearly now that the rain is gone.
Superstar approaching, superstar approaching.
Just get your popcorn and get ready.
Come on, Julia.
Oh, no.
I will if you will.
You go, Gail.
Yeah, boy.
Dollar Jill.
If you can't get into the market, it's okay. Renting is fine.
Box, oh, it's bad. Screw cap, oh, it's bad. It's not true.
We are making a wonderful lemony chicken.
Hot. That's good.
I wonder what Serena's doing. I wonder how Serena is feeling.
That's a really good question. No one's asked me that yet.
You're
70 years old?
70, yeah.
I'm 21.
Sunshine.
See you 7 o'clock sharp.
Welcome back to CBS News Election Night headquarters in New York. It is 2 a.m. in the East, 11 p.m. in the West. Former President Donald Trump is having a very big night, and we're waiting to hear from him as he prepares to take the stage at his Florida campaign headquarters. In the Senate, CBS News projects Republicans will take control there, flipping from the Democrats. In the race to the White House so far, Donald Trump's received 246 electoral votes. Kamala Harris has 194, and it takes 270 to secure the presidency. In the biggest battleground state of all, Pennsylvania, CBS News rates that as lean Republican. It has been a toss-up through much of the night. Other networks have called it for the former president. Pennsylvania, one of what they call the blue wall states. Alongside Pennsylvania, CBS News rates Wisconsin as lean Republican as well. Michigan, at this hour, a toss-up. In the South, CBS News projects Donald Trump will win North Carolina and Georgia, while Arizona and Nevada are rated toss-up. And let's turn now to Gayle King. Gayle?
We're going to bring in CBS political contributor Joel Payne now. Joel?
Hi, Gayle.
Hey. So I just want to say, when Jim Clyburn was here earlier this evening, he said that there was still a path, but the path was thorny. I think now we can even see that looks like the thorns are bending to the side as we sit here. When you were here earlier today or yesterday, and now my days are all running together, you said the conversation about black men was being exaggerated, that you didn't think that was the case. Are you still, as you sit here today, an hour ago you had hope. Do you still have hope yourself as you sit here now?
Well, Gayle, I got to have hope, but also I got to read polls and data, and the data certainly suggests that things aren't going well. My point about black men was, I think it's a complex story. I think top line, Harris actually mostly held Biden's vote share nationally with black men, but she lost them in key places and in key states and key localities where she needed to have them. And I think also there's a story with Latino men as well that I think my colleague Leslie speaks to so well. But I think that, Democrats have some soul searching to do here. This coalition that Democrats have relied upon is changing and has to change. And there has to be some introspection as to why are working class voters missing some of the messages that we're putting across. I actually don't think that working class voters don't like democratic ideas. I think it's sometimes the packaging. You look at the House tonight, Democrats actually have a chance to win back the House. So it is voters keep firing people. And I think we have to understand why voters keep firing people.
Joel, is it, and I even hate to ask this question, I'm asking as I'm clutching my pearls, could it be a woman issue? When Barack Obama suggested it, people thought, some people were offended that he even raised that issue. But do we have to realistically think about that? We've had Hillary Clinton now, and now maybe even Kamala Harris. Do you feel that this country isn't ready for a woman president?
I think we have a country where people live in different silos and don't have one shared experience. And I think that experience, it seems like the gap is widening between the experience of people based on education, based on gender, based on location, based on their pocketbook. And that is creating a real fissure in how we think about our political coalitions. And I think that is the best explanation late on a Tuesday night, early on a Wednesday morning that I can give you right now, Gayle.
Joel Payne, this is Margaret Brennan. I'm just wondering, as you sit here, I'm thinking through what a Trump presidency would mean for the legacy of Joe Biden, what the question is about what the vice president could have done differently to say she was not Joe Biden and actually a change candidate, what she could have articulated. Tell me about some of the missed opportunities that you think are there.
So I think every defeat, obviously, there are a lot of people that want to start pointing fingers, and I think that's already happening. I think Kamala Harris actually, for what she was handed sometime in the middle of July, ran a fairly competent, good, durable campaign. Clearly, based on what we're seeing tonight, probably is not going to be enough. But I don't know if this is something that you can point to infrastructure or design of a campaign. I think these are stubborn issues. Message. Yeah, I think these are stubborn issues that go back to the beginning of the Biden administration. I mentioned Afghanistan earlier. I mentioned a stubborn economy. Let's not forget COVID, right? The country was coming back from COVID, and I think that's a real impact here. And I think maybe the country is still dealing with some PTSD from COVID as well. So there's a lot of reasons why we're here today. I think in terms of message, folks are going to fight about the different types of messaging that they could have gone to, Joel, but yeah.
I apologize. Stand by. CBS News has a new projection for the battleground state of Pennsylvania and its 19 electoral votes. CBS News projects that Donald Trump will be the winner of the state of Pennsylvania. That is a state that Biden carried 4 years ago, but Trump won in 2016, a major projection, and that essentially closes the pathway for Kamala Harris and the presidency. Robert Costa.
So much disappointment among my top Democratic sources tonight, just in the last few minutes, about Pennsylvania. There was promise for Democrats in 2022 when Governor Josh Shapiro, Senator John Fetterman were able to appeal to working people in Pennsylvania. Shapiro famously campaigned on trying to integrate people without college degrees into the state government. You see him urging the Harris campaign for weeks to appeal to working people and union members. For Vice President Harris not to be able to stitch together the Fetterman, Shapiro, Biden coalition in Pennsylvania, suburban centrists, union workers in Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, voters of color, a massive disappointment for Democrats tonight. Pennsylvania, yes, part of the blue wall, but it's central to Democratic power in this country.
And of course, it's where Joe Biden is from, Scranton, Pennsylvania. Yes, I mean, Joe from Scranton. I mean, the other interesting thing as we wait Donald Trump, and we will take his remarks as he is set to appear before supporters, is the soul searching and, of course, the questions about strategy that Margaret was just raising. The question about whether Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party made a mistake by not choosing Josh Shapiro as his vice presidential pick for the reasons that Robert just outlined about the inroads that he made. And also, as has been noted, that Vance's vice presidential debate performance probably made a number of Republicans comfortable with the ticket because, remember, they were huge ratings, 50 million people that saw someone that had moderated his message for that national audience.
And just quickly, not to get ahead of it, I know we're still in election 2024, but people close to Josh Shapiro tonight are encouraging him to think about running for president in 2028. There will be a reckoning inside of the Democratic Party should Vice President Harris be defeated tonight. And whether it's Governor Newsom in California or Governor Shapiro, there are already donors in the Democratic Party, strategists, trying to think through what does the future look like.
Or Governor Westmore in Maryland, too.
Or Westmore in Maryland. We could go through a list of about 20 or 30.
Yeah, yes, we could.
And there is a first mover's advantage here for any Democrat who wants to speak to their party in this moment of uncertainty and wobbliness. So, what you're describing is real because all of these future ambitious politicians have a moment that they can seize to try to define what the Democratic Party is going to need to be in this new era.
We also see the same thing on the right because Trump has said this is his last campaign that he will ever run and is ready to hand the torch to J.D. Vance. Is that them? Oh, I thought I heard. I heard crowd cheering. Excuse me.
That was the people on Times Square.
That it does hear like there is some commotion, and we did get what they call a 2-minute warning, which is a cue to the press and others that the former president of the United States is going to be walking out to the stage, and as soon as he does, we will take his remarks live. I'm struck by the conversation that we had earlier, which is what Trump will show up. It's interesting that we still ask that questions after having him on the national stage for more than a decade.
Well, and of course, we remember that after the speech that Tony referred to after winning in 2016, he gave the inaugural address about American carnage. Right. So it didn't last. It didn't last long, and he has been affirmed in this campaign that his instincts and the way he wants to be is the way he wants to be, and he's been affirmed, it looks like, in this race.
And we should just step back for a moment and think that a 78-year-old American from Queens is about to win the presidency again which is so unlikely in American history. Someone who grew up working with his father here in New York, learning from Roy Cohn, the infamous lawyer, about never accepting defeat, becomes an apprentice, the reality TV show star, is a famed figure on the national wrestling scene, professional wrestling scene, dallies with politics in 1987, thinks about it in 1999, finally runs for president in 2015 after questioning President Obama's love of country and credentials, wins in 2016, leads a pressure campaign against his own vice president in 2020 and 2021, then is embraced once again by the Republican Party for a third nomination. How unusual it is to be a nominee 3 times for any national party. He is a seismic force in American history. Whether you dislike him, hate him, loathe him, love him, or indifferent, this is a figure now who has been a nominee 3 times and potentially winning the presidency twice after all of the convictions, all of the challenges.
Impeachments.
He might be back.
You know, it's interesting, Bob, when you mentioned The Apprentice. There's a movie out right now, The Apprentice, starring Jeremy Strong. And they were saying that training under Roy Cohn, the mantra is win, attack, 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 deny, 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 never admit defeat, and never apologize. And people seem to think that that is what he continues to do in all areas of his life when he is faced with a problem. And that seems, it seems to have served him well as we sit here tonight. You know, it's interesting, when we started the night, guys, we kept saying it's going to be a long night. We're not going to know anything today. Certainly not Pennsylvania. Now we're sitting here a little after 2 o'clock, and it looks like that this race is over.
And that we were bracing collectively, I think, as a country for Donald Trump to preemptively declare victory. And I don't know that this is so preemptive at this point.
And while he doesn't have everything he needs to win, should he win, he'd be the oldest man ever elected and the second man to be elected at different times, joining Grover Cleveland.
130 years ago.
Yeah, someone who served 2 terms at different times.
And as we await the former president, I want to check in with Caitlin Huey Burns because she is there in West Palm Beach, Florida. Caitlin?
Hey, Nora, we have been covering the former president's campaign all year, and his supporters believe this is the night that they had anticipated all along. His campaign had been telling us that they expected results on election night, and it seems like they will get them, even though we are technically into the next day. I want to pick up on the significance of Pennsylvania just quickly, because I essentially have been parked there for much of this cycle because Donald Trump himself has been parked there. He has been calling it the whole ball game for several weeks and months now. And remember, it was in Butler, Pennsylvania that he survived an assassination attempt. And afterwards, you saw not only the Republican Party coalesce around him, but also a sense, at least in my reporting from talking to voters on the ground, that they were kind of coming out of the shadows a little bit to voice their support for him. And I think there are so many moments throughout this campaign that were seen perhaps as controversies or liabilities for the former president, including those 34 felony counts that ended up endearing his party further to him. And that kind of base of support, I think, is significant. Now, we have talked about how that base could have been limited, but the campaign also made a big gamble, trying to expand beyond that base to low propensity voters, especially younger men, Latino men, black men. We're awaiting final numbers, but that gamble seems, at least at this point, to have paid off. But he will have done that without changing anything about who he is or what his message is. If you think about it, he didn't make any overt overtures to these kinds of demographics. Instead, his message was, my message on the economy and immigration will bring you in. And that was the pitch that he would make to women voters, despite a vast gender gap and controversies surrounding the way he talked about women. But that was their theory of the case, that they could tap into this with the former president's message and with his personality. And we saw that especially in the closing days of this campaign, in which he veered off message, leaning into those instincts. We can assess kind of what this coalition looks like as it starts to come together. but there are significant gambles that have paid off. I will also say, just spending so much time over this year talking to voters on the ground, talking to voters of all parties, all kind of walks of life, there was really an uncertainty in this electorate, this feeling of a world on edge, an economy that just wasn't working. And Donald Trump tapped into that, perhaps in a more dark way. His rhetoric was much more harsh, but their theory was that this is an America that is not in a good place. And their theory was using those instincts and his personality and the kind of campaign that he's been waging for nearly a decade would bring those voters into the fold.
Looks like we are just moments away from Donald Trump taking the stage in West Palm Beach. Want to bring in Republican strategist Leslie Sanchez. And Leslie, your thoughts at this moment?
I think for many Americans, they're really excited about a change in America that they fundamentally believe in. You know, I was looking at something Senator Marco Rubio was writing about, that it's not so much we were talking about ethnic identity as much as coming together as Americans. Now, some people aren't going to buy that. I think there's going to be a lot of sour grapes and people pointing fingers. But when we're looking at this now, this is a multiracial, working class, middle class Republican Party. It has been in the making for many election cycles, and I think Trump has leaned into that. He saw that this is where the country was going, and this is why you see that wave across America. It's in all of those communities, big and small, different identities and ethnicities, but feeling this economic pinch and also feeling this crush of immigrants across the border, feeling like there is a very porous border and nothing was done about it, and the impact it's having economically on communities across the country really felt significant, and was why you had such a passionate response from so many people.
Hey, Leslie, do you think this is a Republican Party forever changed? And what happens to Republicans who may not be okay with the way Donald Trump behaves or some of his beliefs? Are they just totally out now?
Well, everybody's welcome, right? What's a party but a coalition of people who come together around a set of ideas? And I agree with you, Gail, because political scientists will say about every 40 years you see these big political shifts in party ID and partisanship. We believe we've been in that for a few cycles now, and you haven't seen it since the 1980s, and now you're seeing it again. And what does it look like? The party has changed. The party is more ethnic, working class, middle class, and you're seeing many more college-educated, master's degree, advanced educated, suburban communities are moving to the left. And Republicans have added that into the dynamic, into the calculation. It is a different party. Does it mean it's not welcome? No. But that's the frustration you saw in 2020. You certainly saw it in 2016. Established Republicans wringing their hands. This is not a party we recognize. Well, welcome to the new Republican Party.
Yeah, I asked that question because I hear so many times from Republicans who say, look, I don't like some of the things he does. I don't like the way he behaves, but I feel like I have to go along to get along, even while some of them say I have to hold my nose and hide my ears.
Gail, you remind me of one voter I heard in Bucks County in Bristol, Puerto Rican family, second, third generation, business community, represents the business interest. And we talked about some of those disparaging comments that happened at the MSG rally and said, is that going to hurt the Puerto Rican community? Is that going to make a difference? And they said, you know, there's going to be some bluster around this, but at the end of the day, it's about our community, our family, our faith, and our pocketbook. And we believe Trump's going to be better on the economy and help us get where we're trying to go, because all these families have a dream that they feel has been stagnant post-COVID, and they want a dramatic shift, and that's kind of where they're falling. That is where they fall today.
Leslie, there's a lot of talk about how Latino voters are going to have to be studied a little more. What would you say, simply, Republicans did right, Democrats maybe did wrong this cycle, especially with the fact that it looks like former President Trump won Latino men overall?
One Latino man won some of these counties in South Texas that haven't been won by a Republican in 100 years.
More than 100 years, since the 1890s.
Exactly. Well, yes. And he's been building on that. This wasn't a one-term shift. This is something, looking at the data, Ed, we saw that Democrat Latinos, particularly men, about 30% of them were very frustrated with the direction of the Democratic Party. They felt under current President Biden that the party was weak. They didn't like that it wasn't focused on the economy. They felt that it's lost its way.
Warning.
That the party lost way. It's the old Republican line, I didn't leave the Democratic Party, the party left me. You had Elon Musk talking about that too, and I think a lot of people felt they didn't recognize the Democratic Party anymore. And these jobs, working class themes that Trump talked about, they lean into that and tested that messaging, and it really resonated with a big part of America.
Leslie Sanchez, thank you so much. I want to bring in CBS Morning's co-host, Tony DeCopel. He's also at Trump headquarters there in Florida. Good evening, Tony.
Hey, good evening again, Nora. As we wait, former and it seems at this hour of the night, the next president of the United States, Donald Trump. We're on Trump World Celebrity Watch here within the ballroom. We've got the My Pillow guy, Mike Lindell, in the building. Tucker Carlson, former Fox News host, is seen walking through the crowd. Former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani, Doug Burgum, Vivek Ramaswamy, Marco Rubio. And as I begin to think about the journey traveled just tonight from Mar-a-Lago to the convention center, you begin to think about the journey traveled in the 721 days that Donald Trump has been on this re-election journey. The day he announced his run for the White House for this unprecedented third consecutive time, the story in his hometown newspaper, the New York Post, was buried on page 26. Florida man announces unlikely bid for the White House. At that moment in time, Donald Trump was isolated in Mar-a-Lago. He was twice impeached, voted out of the White House, abandoned by many of his allies. Well, what a difference the following nearly 2 years makes. Those 4 indictments, the felony conviction in one case, that really energized his base. I've seen a lot of hats here that say I'm voting for the felon. I've seen a lot of shirts here that have the mugshot on the front. They became symbols of a certain kind of resistance for the Trump voter. And now tonight, that hometown newspaper, the New York Post, Don Deal, D-O-N-D-E-A-L. Donald Trump defies the odds again. That is the story of this campaign for the people in the room here as they await Donald Trump's remarks. And if I had to guess, based on what he said election night 2016 and then in 2020, well, 2 points. He seems to be waiting to come out around 2:30, which is the time frame in which he came out the last 2 cycles. He's a superstitious fellow. The words Grand Rapids, Michigan, were the final one spoken rally stop-wise the last 3 campaigns. There might be something to that. Additionally, you feel like there's going to be another magnanimous moment. We're not going to have a 2020 moment. There's not going to be talk of landslides and dominant victories. There's going to be. It feels like we might have a moment where we begin to stop being partisans and take an initial tentative step back to being Americans, as we are here in the wee hours of the day after Election Day, Nora.
Tony DeCopel, thank you. And I know you're going to have reporting bright and early with Gayle King on CBS Mornings. Thank you so much for being there. And Cecilia Vega, I know you wanted to add something about the question about the Latino vote, because Trump is building a new coalition, and part of that does include Latinos.
It very much does. And I wanted to address what Leslie Sanchez said, that when she says people are going to be very excited about that. And I think there are a lot of people in this country who are very excited right now, many of them in that room. I also think a lot of people are very scared tonight. When you look at the proposals that Donald Trump has laid out for a second term when it comes to just immigration alone, I'll do this really quickly as we watch to see what he takes the stage. A travel ban 2.0. He wants to end birthright citizenship for babies born to the United States to undocumented parents. He wants to use the Alien and Enemies Act of 1978 to dismantle, to deport gang leaders. That is a law that has not been used since World War II to intern Japanese Americans in this country. And we talked about his mass deportation plan. What we didn't talk about is that Tom Homan told me that that would essentially involve deporting entire families together, including children who were born in this country. So there are a lot of people who are scared right now.
And now, Donald Trump, along with his wife,
this is great. These are our friends. We have thousands of friends in this incredible movement. This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before. And frankly, this was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time. There's never been anything like this in this country, and maybe beyond. And now it's going to reach a new level of importance because we're going to help our country heal. We're going to help our country heal. We have a country that needs help, and it needs help very badly. We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country. And we made history for a reason tonight, and the reason is going to be just that. We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy? But it's a political victory that our country has never seen before, nothing like this. I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president. And every citizen, I will fight for you, for your family, and your future. Every single day, I will be fighting for you, and with every breath in my body, I will not rest until we have delivered the strong, safe, and prosperous America that our children deserve and that you deserve. This will truly be the golden age of America. That's what we have to have. This is a magnificent victory for the American people that will allow us to make America great again. And in addition to having won the battleground states of North Carolina, I love these places, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, we are now winning in Michigan, Arizona, Nevada, and Alaska, which would result in us carrying at least 315 electoral votes. But it's much easier doing what the networks did or whoever called it, because there was no other path. There was no other path to victory. We also have won the popular vote. That was great. Very proud of it. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Winning the popular vote was very nice, very nice, I will tell you. It's a great feeling of love. We have a great feeling of love in this very large room with unbelievable people standing by my side. These people have been incredible. They've made the journey with me, and we're going to make you very happy. We're going to make you very proud of your vote. I hope that you're going to be looking back someday and say that was one of the truly important moments of my life when I voted for this group of people beyond the president, this group of great people. America has given us an unprecedented and powerful mandate. We have taken back control of the Senate. Wow, that's good. And the Senate races in Montana, Nevada, Texas, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, were all won by the MAGA movement. They helped so much. And in those cases, every one of them, we worked with the senators. They were tough races, and I mean, the number of victories in the Senate was absolutely incredible. And we did tele-rallies. We did tele-rallies with each one of them. And Sometimes we did 2 or 3 and it was amazing to look at all of those victories. Nobody expected that, nobody. So I just wanted to thank you very much for that. And you have some great senators and some great new senators. And it also looks like we'll be keeping control of the House of Representatives. And I want to thank Mike Johnson. I think he's doing a terrific job. Terrific job. I want to also thank my beautiful wife, Melania, First Lady. Who has the #1 best-selling book in the country. Can you believe that? Oh, no, she's done a great job, works very hard to help people. So I just want to thank her. But I want to thank my whole family, my amazing children, and they are amazing children. Now, we all think our children are amazing. Everybody here thinks their children are amazing, but that's a good thing when you think they are. But Don, Eric, Ivanka, Tiffany, Barron, Laura, Jared, Kimberly, Michael, thank you all. What a help. What a great. My father-in-law, Victor, is tremendous. And we miss very much Melania's mother, Amalia. We miss Amalia, don't we, huh? She would be very happy right now, standing on this stage. She'd be so proud. She was a great woman, that one. Beautiful inside and out. She was a great woman. I want to be the first to congratulate our great, now I can say, Vice President-elect of the United States, J.D. Vance. And his absolutely remarkable and beautiful wife, Usha Vance. And he is a feisty guy, isn't he? You know, I've said, go into the enemy camp, and you know the enemy camp is certain networks, and a lot of people don't like to, sir, do I have to do that? He just goes, okay, which one, CNN, MSDNC? He'll say, all right, thank you very much. He actually looks fine. He's like the only guy I've ever seen. He really looks forward to it, and then he just goes in and absolutely obliterates them. Say a couple of words.
Wild. Well, Mr. President, I appreciate you allowing me to join you on this incredible journey. I thank you for the trust that you placed in me. And I think that we just witnessed the greatest political comeback in the history of the United States of America. And under President Trump's leadership, we're never going to stop fighting for you, for your dreams, for the future of your children. And after the greatest political comeback in American history, we're going to lead the greatest economic comeback in American history under Donald Trump's leadership.
Thank you very much. He's turned out to be a good choice. I took a little heat at the beginning, but he was, I knew the brain was a good one, about as good as it gets. And we love the family, and we're going to have a great 4 years, and we're going to turn our country around, make it something very special. It lost that little thing called special. We have to make it so. We're going to make this so great. It's the greatest country, and potentially the greatest country in the world by far. And right now, we're going to just work very hard to get all of that back. We're going to make it the best it's ever been. We can do that. If we had to wait longer, I don't know. It was going bad, and it was going bad fast. We're going to have to seal up those borders, and we're going to have to let people come into our country. We want people to come back in, but we have to let them come back in, but they have to come in legally. They have to come in legally. Let me also express my tremendous appreciation for Susie and Chris, the job you did. Susie, come here. Come here, Susie. Chris, come here, Chris. Susie likes to stay sort of in the back, let me tell you. The Ice Maiden, we call her the Ice Maiden. Come here, Chris. Susie likes to stay in the background. She's not in the background. Come here, Susie.
This wasn't expected, but I just want to thank, obviously, President Trump for this journey. It was a great one, and he's a hell of a candidate, and he's going to be a hell of a great 47th president. And this team that we had, the best team, and, of course, even my boss, Susie Wiles, the best. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Susie. Look at her, she's shy. I've never seen her be shy before. Susie, they're great. Everybody up here is great. Everybody up here is very special. But the Trump, who did you say? Oh, let me tell you, we have a new star. A star is born, Elon. Now he is. Now he's an amazing guy. We were sitting together tonight. You know, he spent 2 weeks in Philadelphia and different parts of Pennsylvania campaigning. You know, he sent the rocket up 2 weeks ago, and I saw that rocket, and I saw it coming down. I saw it. It was, when it left, it was beautiful, shiny white. When it came down, it didn't look so pretty. It was going 10,000 miles an hour, and it was burning like hell. I said, what happened to your paint job? He said, we've never made a paint that could withstand that kind of heat. And, but I saw it come down and turn around. And it was, you know, it's like 22 stories tall, by the way. It looks a little smaller than that, but it's big. And it came down, and you saw that fire burning. And I'm saying, only Elon can do this. It must be an Elon. And I tell the story. I told it last night. I had a man on the phone. I had the screen muted, no sound. I was talking to a very important man, happens to be here. And that very important guy, one of the most important people in, I would say, the country, actually. But, you know, I was president, and now it looks like I was going to be maybe president again, so I figured I could ask him to hold. So I asked him to hold. And especially because you're going to be president again, they hold. So I took the phone down, and I'm looking at the screen. I'm seeing this crazy thing that's going around and coming down. It looks like it's going to crash into the gantry. And I said, oh, no. And I said, do me a favor, do you mind holding for a couple of minutes? I want to see this. I thought it was a space-age movie or something. I put the phone down. Bad part, I didn't pick it up for 45 minutes, and he was holding. But this spaceship came down, and I saw those engines firing, and it looked like it was over. It was going to smash, and then I saw the fire pour out from the left side, and I put it straight, and it came down so gently, and then it wrapped those arms around it, and it held it, and just like you hold your baby at night, your little baby. And it was a beautiful thing to see, and I called Elon. I said, Elon, was that you? He said, yes, it was. I said, who else can do that? Can Russia do it? No. Can China do it? No. Can the United States do it other than you? No, nobody can do that. I said, that's why I love you, Elon. That's great. And you know, when we had the tragic Hurricane Helene, and it hit North Carolina, they were really devastated, the water. This was a big water, as big as we've ever seen, water hurricane. It built lakes out of nothing. Fields became lakes, and the danger was unbelievable. And the people from North Carolina came to me and they said, would it be possible, at all possible, for you to speak to Elon Musk? We need Starlink. I said, what's Starlink? It's a form of communication. So I called Elon. And I'll tell you what, he had, and it was very dangerous. People would die. They had no communication. All the wires were down. I called Elon Musk. I said, Elon, you have something called Starlink. Is that right? Yes, I do. What the hell is it? He said, it's a communication system that's very good. I said, Elon, they need it really, really badly in North Carolina. Can you get it? He had that there so fast. It was incredible. So, and it was great. It saved a lot of lives. He saved a lot of lives. But he's a character. He's a special guy. He's a super genius. We have to protect our geniuses. We don't have that many of them. We have to protect our super geniuses. I want to thank some of the guys. You know, we have up here today the U.S. Open champion. He's a fantastic golfer, slightly longer than me. Hits the ball a little bit longer than me. Just a little bit. Bryson DeChambeau is up here someplace. What happened to Bryson? Where is he? Bryson. Oh, he was shot. He's hitting balls. Oh, he's on the way. He's hitting balls. Bryson. Yeah, Bryson. Oh, look at him. He had a great, he's got a great career going. Great U.S. Open, Bryson. That's a fantastic job. And we also have a Mandana White who has done some job. He's a tough guy. So Dana started UFC and came to me, do you mind if I use your, nobody wanted to give him a rinse because they said it's a rough sport, a little rough. And I helped him out a little bit, and I went, and they said, this is the roughest sport I've ever seen, but I began to like it, and he loved it, and nobody's done a better job in sports. And you know, he's a very motivational kind of a guy, what he does. He gets these fighters, and they really go at it, and it's become one of the most successful sports enterprises anywhere at any time. It's doing so well. I'd like to ask Dana just to say a couple of words because people love to hear from him. Dana,
please. Nobody deserves this more than him, and nobody deserves this more than his family does. This is what happens when the machine comes after you. What you've seen over the last several years, this is what it looks like. Couldn't stop him. He keeps going forward. He doesn't quit. He's the most resilient, hard-working man I've ever met in my life. His family are incredible people. This is karma, ladies and gentlemen. He deserves this. They deserve it as a family. I want to thank some people real quick. I want to thank the Nelk boys, Aiden Ross, Theo Vaughn, busting with the boys, and last but not least, the mighty and powerful Joe Rogan. And thank you, America. Thank you. Have a good night.
that is a piece of work. No, he's really an amazing guy. But most of all, I want to thank the millions of hardworking Americans across the nation who have always been the heart and soul of this really great movement. We've been through so much together, and today you showed up in record numbers to deliver a victory like really, probably like no other. This was something special, and we're gonna pay you back. We're gonna do the best job. We're gonna turn it around. It's got to be turned around. It's got to be turned around fast, and we're gonna turn it around. We're gonna do it in every way, with so many ways, but we're gonna do it in every way. This will forever be remembered as the day the American people regained control of their country. So I just want to say that on behalf of this great group of people, these are hard-working people. These are fantastic people, and we can add a few names like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And he's going to help make America healthy again. And now he's a great guy, and he really means it. He wants to do some things, and we're going to let him go to it. I just said, but Bobby, Leave the oil to me. We have more liquid gold, oil and gas. We have more liquid gold than any country in the world, more than Saudi Arabia. We have more than Russia. Bobby, stay away from the liquid gold. Other than that, go have a good time, Bobby. We're going to be paying down debt. We're going to be reducing taxes. We can do things that nobody else can do. Nobody else is going to be able to do it. China doesn't have what we have. Nobody has what we have. But we have the greatest people also. Maybe that's the most important thing. This campaign has been so historic in so many ways. We've built the biggest, the broadest, the most unified coalition. They've never seen anything like it in all of American history. They've never seen it. Young and old, men and women, rural and urban. And we had them all helping us tonight, when you think. I mean, I was looking at it, I was watching it. They had some great analysis of the people that voted for us. Nobody's ever seen anything like that. They came from all corners, union, non-union, African American, Hispanic American, Asian American, Arab American, Muslim American. We had everybody, and it was beautiful. It was a historic realignment, uniting citizens of all backgrounds around a common core of common sense. You know, we're the party of common sense. We want to have borders. We want to have security. We want to have things be good, safe. We want great education. We want a strong and powerful military, and ideally we don't have to use it. You know, we had no wars. 4 years we had no wars, except we defeated ISIS. We defeated ISIS in record time. But we had no wars. They said, he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars. But this is also a massive victory for democracy and for freedom. Together, we're going to unlock America's glorious destiny. We're going to achieve the most incredible future for our people. Yesterday, as I stood at my last stop on the campaign trail, I'll never be doing a rally again. Can you believe it? I think we've done 900 rallies approximately from them. Can you imagine? 901 something, a lot of rallies. And it was sad. Everybody was sad. Many people, I said, this is our last rally. But now we're going on to something that's far more important, because the rallies were used for us to be put in this position where we can really help our country. That's what we're going to do. We're going to make our country better than it ever has been. And I said that many people have told me that God spared my life for a reason. And that reason was to save our country and to restore America to greatness. And now we are going to fulfill that mission together. We're going to fulfill that mission. The task before us will not be easy, but I will bring every ounce of energy, spirit, and fight that I have in my soul to the job that you've entrusted to me. This is a great job. There's no job like this. This is the most important job in the world. Just as I did in my first term, we had a great first term, a great first term. I will govern by a simple motto: promises made, promises kept. We're going to keep our promises. Nothing will stop me from keeping my word to you, the people. We will make America safe, strong, prosperous, powerful, and free again. And I'm asking every citizen all across our land to join me in this noble and righteous endeavor. That's what it is. It's time to put the divisions of the past 4 years behind us. It's time to unite. And we're going to try, we have to try, and it's going to happen. Success will bring us together. I've seen that. I saw that in the first term. When we became more and more successful, people started coming together. Success is going to bring us together, and we are going to start by all putting America first. We have to put our country first for at least a period of time. We have to fix it. Because together we can truly make America great again for all Americans. So I want to just tell you what a great honor this is. I want to thank you. I will not let you down. America's future will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than it has ever been before. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Well, there you see former President Donald Trump with his family and friends on stage addressing supporters in West Palm Beach, talking about unifying the country and congratulating his campaign managers and his whole team. It should be noted, CBS News has not yet projected the 2024 presidential contest. As you can see, we have him 4 electoral votes shy of winning the presidency with 270 electoral votes, as there are still some votes being counted, I should say. John Dickerson.
Well, J.D. Vance said it's the greatest political comeback in the history of the United States, completely, totally, and not just a comeback by a squeaker, a comeback where he has helped his party and lots of candidates win tonight, and where all of his impulses. The great question with Donald Trump is, will the office, will his aides, will traditions, will the courts check his impulses? His impulses have not been checked, and the victory is a ratification of his impulses. And so this is a new. So that.
I know, John, but why should people start checking his impulses? It seems to have worked for him. I just don't see how he changes now.
Oh no, there's no right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying this is.
Allez, voilà. Donc c'est terminé. Je crois que je vais vous laisser aller faire autre chose. Je crois que c'était merveilleux, c'était incroyable. Vous avez suivi tout ce que Donald Trump a dit dans le monde pour les États-Unis, les intérêts des Américains, ce qu'il va faire, protection des frontières, il ne veut pas la guerre. Et les États-Unis sera grand. Nous avons ce que la Chine n'a pas, nous avons ce que la Russie n'a pas. Et il a parlé vraiment, il a dit que nous serons tous unis ensemble. On va mettre les divisions de côté pour que nous puissions construire ensemble. Et puis il croit que les succès amènent toujours les gens ensemble. Voilà, en général, c'est ce qu'il a dit. Il a dit que c'était incroyable, c'était quelque chose de pas facile, mais ça sera historique. Il n'y a jamais eu quelque chose de comme ça dans la vie qui est arrivé. Voilà ce que Donald Trump a pu dire. Je vous aime tous beaucoup. Je crois qu'il est temps que je vous laisse vous reposer. On va se retrouver encore demain, comme d'habitude. Nous viendrons pour donner d'autres commentaires. Et j'espère que merci à vous tous. Et je vous laisse partir, faire autre chose. Au revoir.